Welcome back, everybody. Sri Tips here. We're going to get started right away on part 2 of the silver cell anode filter recovery and refining video series. Here we go. Everything is just like we left it. Here's our solution with the finely divided solids that have settled out. At the bottom of this beaker, we're going to draw off that solution and add it to our beaker that has copper in it to get the metal silver to cement out of this solution. First, I'm going to pull this out of the way and move it to the side. Now what we're going to do, I've got the filter bags heating up back here in the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the jar back here. It's kind of hot. I'm just going to grab this jar by the rim, which you should never do. I'm going to pour in some of our solution into this beaker up here in front, and that should create a reaction in here. Start dissolving out some of our silver out of this solution. Add a little more. That was a timid reaction at best. Add a little bit more hot dilute nitric acid here. It's green. That means we got some palladium in there, possibly. Here we're getting a little bit more of a reaction. And then what I'll do next is I'm going to replenish the solution back here in the back. And I'm going to keep adding distilled water and nitric acid to this back here. And we'll just keep kind of getting the silver out of these filters. And then I'll add the rinse water to this beaker and use that rinse water out of our beaker in the back on the heat back here to dissolve the silver and other metals that are in this beaker here. And add some nitric acid to this back here now. About 200 milliliters or so. Going on in here with that hot dilute nitric dissolving the silver. I'll move this over here just for a second. Pull up our silver solution back here. Take a look at this. I'm going to stick a stirring rod in there and stir this up. You see the silver's come out of the solution nicely on that copper. Copper's gone into solution. Just gotta get a piece of copper up here if we can look at it. I guess I can't. I think it's pretty much all the copper has traded places with the silver now. So all we have down in the bottom of that beaker is silver. Silver powder. Once this solution settles down, I'll draw off that copper solution out of there, get it ready to go into the waste treatment bucket. And so we'll just let this reaction continue here. Running out of room in here, so I'm going to do a little bit of rearranging. And what I want to try to do is get this beaker that I've got right here in front of me rolling real good, so I'm going to add some heat to it. bit. I'm gonna add a couple more pieces of copper to this over here to make sure we got everything cemented out of solution. As you can see by the reaction on there, there's still precious metals in solution in there. And then over here, what we're going to do is I'm going to add some of this hot boiling dilute nitric out of these filters into our solids in this big beaker here. I'm just going to pour this in carefully. Bit at a time because I don't want the reaction to run away on me in here. I'll just keep adding dilute nitric to these solids over here until we get everything to go into solution. Beaker that has the strained out solids down in the bottom of it. It's all settled out. It's got some nice solution above it. This is going to be full of silver. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my vacuum pump on. And now we're going to draw out the solution out of this beaker right here. Collect it into this flask so that we can filter it out, and then we'll put this in some copper and cement the silver out of this solution. Solution that we just drew off. It's going to have silver in it. I'm going to put that in this beaker right here. I'm adding some copper to this solution right here. Should have precious metals in it that will cement out on the copper. I'm just going to drop these right in. And again, this reaction will produce some fumes that are not good to breathe, so we want to do this outdoors or in a fume hood. As you can see, all my big beakers are being utilized here. This is quickly overwhelming the capacity that I have in my shop here. Let's go ahead and transfer some more of this hot solution out of here into our solids. This is hot dilute nitric from our filters here. Give this a stir. got some solution in here, and what I'm going to do is draw this off with a fine tipped tube here and get the rest of this solution out of our solids here in this beaker. Where we're at, I've got our solids here that we rinsed off of the slimes when we tried to rinse everything off the pieces of silver. I'm going to set this aside. I've got these two beakers back here. I've emptied all the acid and water into this one to try to get this to dissolve. I've poured some distilled water in here to rinse these filters off. Now what I'm going to do, these are the solids that we strained off through that strainer earlier in the video in part 1. I'm going to add this rinse water to this beaker now. And what we're going to do is, I'm thinking there's going to be some silver down here. So what we're going to do is add this rinse water to this beaker. And these filters, I'm going to pronounce these done. And what I'll do is I'll set these aside and we'll let these dry out, and then I'll add them to the paper storage and process those later on when I do my next batch of filters. Burn them for any precious metals, traces of precious metals that might be left in these filters. But for right now, everything's been extracted out of these. So now I'm going to extract any silver that might be in this finely divided material down in this beaker. I'm going to add a little bit of nitric acid here. Oh yeah, look at that. Definitely got some precious metals in there, some silver, maybe some palladium. This is a finely divided material, so it's going to have a tendency to flare up when we add our nitric acid to it. And I'm going to put this up on our hot plate back here and let it slowly start heating up. I'm going to rinse these filters off with a little bit of distilled water, and then what we'll do is add that rinse to our beaker up here that we just stuck on the heat, so that we've got some water in this beaker so that the metals will have a place to dissolve into once we get everything going into solution in this finely divided material back here in the back. Got a bamboo skewer here. I'm going to get a piece of filter paper and stick it down into our solution here. Put a little bit on the corner of that piece of filter paper there. Now we're going to do a stannous test on this sample here and see what we got going into solution. Looks like we're getting a slight orange indication there. The back is turning brown. I see brown and orange. Looks like we got a little bit of platinum, maybe a little bit of palladium. Mostly platinum, I guess, judging by that test. add some distilled water to this beaker here. And then I'm going to put some nitric acid in there with it. And we'll add this dilute nitric acid to our finely divided solids up here in this beaker. There we go. Pour it in real slow. Swirl here. See if we can get that mixed up a little bit in there. Alright, I don't think that's too vigorous there. I'm going to add a little bit more of our acid. Let this continue to heat like this and react with the acid that's in there with the finely divided solids. On this beaker here, I think what I'll do is I'm just going to leave it on the heat until all the fumes go away, and then that will let me know that all the available nitric has been used up in here. And then I'll siphon this cleared, settled solution off, and we'll work with that solution and then dissolve the rest of the solids that's down in the bottom of the beaker. Alright, now we're going to see if we can get a little bit of this acid into this larger beaker up here. I'd like to get most of this in there without creating a boil over here. That's as far as we want to go. I see it start fluffing up like that. That tells me, that's the beaker telling me to back off. So I listen to it so we don't get interruption and have silver nitrate solution all over. Been about 2 or 3 minutes since I added that last dose of our dilute nitric acid. Try to get the rest of this in there now. All these solids in it. There's still quite a bit of solid material in there. As you can see, I can see some pieces of silver, and I'm just going to let this react. I'm not going to add any more acid to this beaker until we get all this acid consumed. This is our filter from the part 1 of the video. It's got some solids in it. I'm just going to add that right into this beaker with the finely divided solids. The paper will disintegrate, and all the solids should follow the rest of the solids in here and go into solution. So I'm just going to add that filtered paper right in. All of this residual material in the funnel, I'll wipe this out with a paper towel or filter paper and add it to my paper storage. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a dose of straight nitric acid to this beaker. to help me judge where we're at as far as dissolving the soluble material in that beaker. It's not very much here, maybe about 20, 25 ml, 20 ml or so. Just going to add this in and with some stirring. And see where we're at, see how badly this flares up when I add this straight nitric in. If it doesn't take off real bad, then that'll kind of tell me, well, yeah, it kind of flares up there. So I still got some material going into solution there. So I got to be careful with my nitric additions. I don't want to overflow this beaker. Got about half of it in. I'm gonna pour the other half in now. Just trying to gauge where I'm at with how much soluble material is left in this beaker. This is some more of the silver bearing solution that I drew off earlier in this video. What I'm going to do now is pull up our beakers here that have the copper in them, and I'm going to add that material or that solution to these beakers to get that silver that's in that solution in the flask cemented out onto the copper in here. I'm going to add this right to it. Here's our solution. Going to add it right to the beakers here that have copper in them, and the silver will come out of solution onto this copper in both of these beakers. Getting full there, almost to capacity. Just a little review here. These two beakers have the solution that I rinsed off of the silver cell slimes when I first started. There should only be silver in those solutions. That's why I'm cementing the silver out with copper. There won't be a whole bunch of platinum group metals or palladium in there because I just rinsed the silver nitrate off the silver cell slimes and then cementing the silver out here. These two beakers will have the solids that we got out of the slimes. This is going to have the big chunks of silver in it. This one had the finely divided material that we poured through the nylon strainer in our attempt to rinse off the silver granules and reuse them. That didn't work. And so this is going to have the finely divided material in it. And what I'm going to do now is I've cranked the heat on both of these, and I'm going to let these boil until all the fumes clear up in here. And then once the fumes clear up pretty good, what I'll do is I'll turn the heat off and we'll let these solutions cool off, settle out, and then we'll draw off the solutions in here. The nitric acid in both of these beakers will dissolve any silver that's in these two group of solids, and it will dissolve off any palladium that's in the solids as well, because palladium is soluble in nitric acid. There may be a little bit of platinum in our solution also, even though nitric does not dissolve platinum by itself. When it's mixed with silver, some of the platinum will go into solution. That's where we're at right now. We're just gonna, I got the heat cranked, we'll let these boil, and then we're gonna go from here. Beaker over here on the left with the finely divided solids. filter paper in it. It's got a nice rolling boil. I'm going to turn the heat off now. Notice that there's no fumes being produced, or very light fumes being produced in there, so that means that reaction's done. Kill the heat on that now and let it settle out. I'm waiting for this one. I've got the heat up on high. I'm waiting for this one to roll. As soon as this one gets done rolling and all the fumes go away, I'm going to do the same thing with this beaker. Then we're going to call it a night. I had to swap the beakers. This burner wouldn't get hot enough, so I put the beaker with the solids on it that was still reacting over here on this burner, cut it up on high. As you can see, we've got a rolling boil and no fume production. So I'm going to turn the heat off now, and we're going to let this settle. This will be the last clip for part 2. This will conclude part 2 of the series. And I just like to make a couple comments here about some of the questions and the comments that I'm reading in the comments section from part 1. There were lots of suggestions on how to get the silver cleaned up so we could reuse it in the cell. And all of those suggestions, I thank you for those, but every one of them involved work of some kind, going through and grinding the material off, or soaking it and rubbing it off, or agitating it, or whatever the case may be. But the bottom line is, I've got time and I've got plenty of nitric acid. So what I'd rather do, and what I decided to do, was just let the nitric acid do all that work for me. And so we're going to proceed with digesting all the material that I can with that hot dilute nitric acid, and then we'll go from there. So we got the solids partially digested today, and what we'll do in the morning when we go back out is we'll draw off those solutions and work with those, and then we'll add some more nitric acid to the remaining solids to make sure that we've got everything off of there that's soluble in nitric, everything off of there that we can. And okay, this will conclude part 2 of this series. Thank you for watching.